it's a it's it's such a good show because of the interaction of these people and also the like the behind the scenes of the like rich side of it. Like she's
Hmm.
so opulent. She has so much money and you've been able to do so many things with her. And especially this season, you've gotten so much attention about using these, important locations in Los Angeles and being able to, give her character to the locations. How are you in selecting locations, and then how is it going into these?
Yeah. Well, when it comes to locations, we have just a fantastic location department. Kyle Suker and Danny Finn have just an amazing team that's able to really get out there and find things that are so unique in Los Angeles. So, they go out and they do their first thing. We talk about it, what we see, or we talk to Jen Paul and Lucia about what we think we need for that if they have any ideas. And just like any show, it like kind of happens organically. You show them the first thing. Sometimes we're not sure exactly what it needs to be, so you do the first pass of location scouting, and it's like, is it this? Is it that? And sometimes it gets really specific. Like Winnie's house this year was kind of a beast to find because they wanted to look like the CEO of Converse has this brutalist mansion compound thing. That was the reference, and there is not as much brutalism in Los Angeles as you'd think there would be,
There's not.
but there's not. Jen would
As
know.
someone who loves brutalist architecture, there's not.
There's not.
There's like three.
So yeah. So we are just able to find some really great spots, and they work with the show.
What in this though, how much are you tweaking for the I mean I know, but like how much are you tweaking for this? Like, a lot of times I feel like
Yeah.
lately we're going in and we're given new floors. Like new flooring to places
Sure.
is like a big thing now, I feel like. So how much of this is like, oh, that teal tile was, our thoughts, like that toilet, like what is
So this, I mean,
Well, this is a build
this was a build on
Oh, this
stage.
is a build. Well, then why is
Yes.
it in House Beautiful as a location?
because
So
everyone gets
it,
confused.
yeah, it all gets blended together. So that was it's actually the tail of that set. That
Well,
was
you
supposed
tricked
to
me.
be great.
Yeah.
That was based off of the location that we shot in Altadena that we lost in the fire. The original set was a three-wall set that was done by our different team that started season three, that we took over for after the second episode. And then this season, it came back and we had a chance to just embellish it. Sometimes when you do that through-wall set, it comes together so fast that the details, you get lost a little bit in the details.
Right.
So we redid the windows, we put real tile into the bathroom, and we built the other walls of the set to make it a 360. I think we redid the beams. We just to give it a facelift, gave it doors, sliding doors, added that archway, added the doors to the hallway,
Yeah.
matched the
Change the
hallway at the Altadena
windows.
mansion, changed the windows out to make them feel like they were a little closer matched to the location.
I don't have a reverse on this. So then, Jen, where did you find the toilets and the bidet, the matching? I mean,
Warner Brothers basement.
wow.
And it was funny because
Damn.
since we've since the first time we went to LA's or Deb's LA mansion in season two, it's always been we thought it was a one-off like set that season. I had no idea we were going to be back and be back and be back.
Right.
And every time we've gone by it, like Jill Carvalho, my assistant decorator, and I have just laughed and been like, "Oh my God, like, can we do Deb's LA bathroom?" And laughed to ourselves. And
Right.
then we got to see Deb's LA
You
bathroom.
have to do it.
I mean, I'm still a little bummed that that whole article had this photo on here and it said a location, and I was like, oh,
I
okay.
know, I had noticed that too.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
hysterical. Well, see, I'm correcting here. This
That's
is a
right.
build.
For
This
the
is a
on the
build,
record
people.
now.
Here you go.
Yeah, on
Finally,
not
we get a chance to speak out about
yeah, not a
this
location.
attribution.
A total build. And then this, I mean, color choices for her all season with Kathleen is the wardrobe, the costumer.
Custom designer.
It's
Yeah.
such she's fantastic, but you guys always play off of each other, which I always think is great, and make her pop and make the furniture pop with what she's wearing. How is that
We
collaboration?
Yeah, what was really great this season is the first season that costumes wasn't somewhere else.
They were on our
So Kathleen,
floor.
on our
Oh,
floor, we were
oh, that's
walking past each other all
It
the
was
time.
great.
It was really great. It was really handy. It was really nice to see swatches. It was really fun to like get the sequin wall for the late night and be like, what's her opening wardrobe? How's this going
right.
to work? So we really got to collaborate a lot deeper. And I think it showed this season, really. The costume, it feels so on point this
Yeah,
season. So
it's a
yeah. It was really, the other overlap was that Deb's office at late night is Kathleen's office where she does fittings for all the actors. We just
I
broom
have,
furniture, bring things in, and then go back and forth. Yeah, so that's Kathleen's
Yes.
office.
well, I did. I mean, the whole like late night writers' offices I know is a location on Universal that Morgan loves to use. So I know
Yes,
I've used it
The
on 3 different shows.
I saw it in your show.
Yeah, we all love that conference room.
the conference
Um,
room is, and then we built their little bullpen. They're
right.
like,
Yeah, the
yeah.
writer's pen was its own thing.
Well,
We just
let's
used that in the hallway.
So in taking this though, there's a lot because these offices don't look like this. So you guys, it's like it's a lot. It's like wallpaper and the carp and is that
Yes.
the bound rug and like,
Yeah, so that was all. So we did the wallpaper, and the wallpaper has a glaze over top of it to kind of tie a little bit more into the lavender.
yeah.
And then we rebuilt some of the wainscoting, had some weird gappy things going on with it, and patched a lot of all of these late night offices that were part of stage one. All of them have giant TVs or a lot of TVs on the walls to track what's going on stage. So we had to
Right.
make right with all that stuff just architecturally.
Um, I have a funny story. I don't know if I have to move myself over, but these chairs, Jen,
Uh,
and I do believe,
wait, the lavender ones or
yeah, the bookshelf, and I don't know if with the desk. I can't remember the desk. I bought those for, or you bought the same chairs.
oh
Uh,
no, the chairs I rented at Universal.
Uni, yeah, I gave them to. They're from Impeachment, and they were in Monica Lewinsky's apartment. And long story short, nobody consulted her that we redid her world instead of shabby chic because Ryan Murphy was like, no, we're not doing shabby chic. So we gave her that style. And when she
Uh,
walked into the set, she burst into tears. And so then I had 3 days to
to
redo the
shabby chic
set
it.
to shabby chic,
Oh
but
my God.
but elegant
Right.
shabby chic
Yeah, of
which is
course.
Right.
what's on camera. So I think I eventually used them in a dressing room, but I never got to use all of it.
They're beautiful.
And
Oh,
I loved them. And so when I saw them, I was like, oh, thank God they've been seen. Thank God I see them. I love those chairs. They're beautiful. And I love her in the lavender and like the softness that you guys, give to her room. And um I mean the blonde hair plays off of her skin tone,
Yeah.
everything
yeah.
looks so great against it all.
We do have a palette that we use for both of them where we know that they pop off and they look really nice. The big rule was no yellow.
Mm,
Yellow's a color we tend to avoid when it comes to finishes. But this was a lot of this color. We wanted to treat it as her private world. So you see it here, you see it in her touch-up room, and then when she comes out on stage, now we see just the last bit of pink, and behind the curtain is her world.
right.
So that smoky pink, it's all kind of intended to tie those parts together.
Let's talk about your big one here. What is I mean, there's a lot of late night out there to draw from, but
Yeah,
what is your
But
inspiration?
it's all manly.
Yeah, that's true.
yeah,
It's all
It's more
blue and
feminine.
wood.
It does
yeah.
read more feminine, absolutely. Yeah, that's a great detail.
So we wanted it to be just kind of a monument to late night. Like we needed to feel like this is her goal, this is where she wanted to be, this is her lifelong dream. So one of the big things is she's moving to Los Angeles to do it. So we wanted it to be a love song to Los Angeles. So I looked at the Griffith Observatory for some of the finishes in the columns. We looked at the Eastern Building for the vibe behind the band.
Mm,
In the cutouts, we wanted to show the journey from Las Vegas to LA. So if you read from right to left, you're in Vegas, and then it becomes Los Angeles on the left. The star drop behind her is a nod to season one, her when she was at the Palmetto, the star drop she had behind her there. With the floors, there are a chevron floor that's in her mansion that we did in the tour bus in season two. The scroll work inside the columns was because I was passing at Tiffany's when I was trying to design the set. And it was The Tiffany's on Colorado and Pasadena has a very similar scroll work that I ripped off.
in here.
You paid
Yes,
homage. You
yes.
paid homage, sir.
Paid homage, paid homage. And then I don't remember exactly how it was a collaboration with Bricker, but he had the idea, or we had the idea for the marquee lights underneath the header, which we were shooting in
Oh,
Vegas that week when we were designing the set. And so I just took pictures of references of Fremont Street and Circus and sent them to set designers to try to figure out how we're going to cram hundreds of marquee bulbs. And one of my favorite little nods is you can't really see it. You can see it a little bit behind the lights in this picture, but there are these deco arches above the header. When
oh,
Johnny Carson moved from New York to Burbank,
yeah.
his 1972 set had a very similar arch design that we full on homage as well.
Oh.
So
And
there's all little bits and pieces.
it's hard to take bits and pieces and make them cohesive. So I applaud you for that because that looks
Thank
like,
you.
yeah, it's very like all together and everything. I mean, the drapery to pull, it's not easy to pull off that drapery in a middle section and win like correctly every
And
time.
we picked an oddly thick fabric because
Yeah.
it was the right
Yeah.
color. And then Daniel at our Universal Drapery was like, I mean, it's pretty thick. Trying to work through the rig.
Hey,
But
Daniel, I've heard that before.
Yeah.
I never have,
It's always
I never have good luck with drapery, so
it's a thing. Like
You do a
totally.
lot of
It's
drapery.
funny.
I do, but I feel like when it comes to something like this, it's never seamless. Something that has to move more than once.
It's not my great. It's not my strength either.
It's
I would.
hard.
I would
It's
say,
very
yeah.
hard to get the right the right weight of the material, and you want it to look luxurious, and you need the
Yeah.
color, the type,
Right.
and then time
Right.
and money. It's a
Yeah.
lot to get that drapery done. So I applaud everyone involved in that.
Well, it also become when we were designing it and coming up with it. It's just kind of like Jen would ask me, like, "What do you want it to look like?" I'm like, "I don't know." Just kind of did some really loose sketches, and it becomes one of those like, take it to the drapers and trust the experts. Like, tell me what I can have. I kind of
Yeah,
want it to
Right.
be this.
yeah.
What are the physics of this fabric that's going to make it work?
I don't have a close-up of it. It's great. Oh, there's a
Oh, there's the
close-up
marquee
here.
bulbs and the top. Yeah.
Yeah.
Marquee bulbs on top. Yeah.
Is this wood? Now that I'm looking at it, is that wood or is
That no, we CNC'd out of not Gator, but Sintra,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then stacked it.
Oh, it's great.
And then we kept painting it over the course of the season, adding texture, because we wanted to make sure that Adam's lights hit it just right and it exposed right behind her head. So it started off pretty stark white, and then we got a little grayer and thicker texture. So by the end of the season, it looks a little bit richer.
Right. Oh, that's great. How many chairs did you audition for the seating?
This was it.
That was
Yeah.
it?
Yes.
You bitch.
That was an easy one. I think the whole set, like the overall set just was so impactful. Yeah, no one ever commented or said anything. We bought those
Yeah.
and reupholstered them, and
Wow.
I think we had a
Unlike-
different set in our
Mhm.
minds, and then we kind of figured out it was going to be too bulky and like
Yeah.
big, and like the people would be way back like this. And so then we ended up, I mean, honestly, we found some like really cheap, horribly upholstered furniture, but it was the right scale, and then we just reupholstered it.
Oh, wow. Because
Yeah.
it's hard because the seat height has to be right with the desk, and I don't know, you kind of have a Letterman thing going where she's higher, like, it's I don't know. I've only done two like interview style things like this, and it's like I'm not the type of decorator to bring in 10 chairs.
Yeah,
For
me
this,
neither.
I am.
Yeah.
I needed
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
I
the roast
cycled
last
through
season
a
was a
bunch.
lot more.
Before we made the choice of many things were considered and taped out and talked about. But
Yeah.
And the
Then these
desk,
were-
did you build?
Yes.
Yeah, the desk is a build. It's beautiful.
especially because they had to cut it.
Yeah, that was the big thing. And we had to and the panel goes in and out depending on which side of the story
Oh,
we're on.
right,
So
because you wanted
we
to
had
see
to
the
design
light.
it.
Yeah,
Exactly.
can't
Exactly.
see Deb's legs.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
gotta see the light. This is a big set. This is like you got to get the seating and the light because it's all on camera. It's all.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of integration with lighting.
I'm
And
gonna props to our lighting department because they did all the lights.
Yep.
Nice. Who is
Thank God.
who is the VP on this?
Adam Bricker.
I don't know.
He shot every season. Yeah.
He's not part of my cousin family. I don't know. I don't work. But fabulous job. I mean,
Yeah.
in sourcing. Where'd you get your seating? Is that advanced?
Universal. We actually, because they did the late night in season 3, like when it was Danny, well, Danny Collins.
Yeah.
I used the same seats so that you felt like you were kind of in the same stage in theater. Yeah.
Nice.
We debated
really,
a lot about
yes.
would she get new seats, would she not get new seats. Yeah, we went back and forth on that a lot at the beginning.
There were those I don't want to call them watermelon seats that you found at one point in time.
There were some, we were off on a tangent for a while.
Yeah.
While there.
These just made sense in the end, though. I think they totally work, and it helps give us that nod to the how long it's been here.
Yeah, because that's what it's out with the old and with the new. It's the same stage. Like,
Exactly.
And then this carpeting is fantastic, also.
Yeah.
Is that a nod to? Is that a new?
That's another Vegas. It's good Vegas hotel carpet. Loud and hides all the stains.
Then you do get into some behind the scenes back here, which that's a big dress. Like that's not a big dress, but it's like that's a detail.
Yeah, it's a lot of little stuff.
But we had to figure out first too, because we had the photo shoot that happens in episode 1. They see backstage, so we kind of had to figure out all of this backstage area and have that all dressed in and built before we started really building the set.
I don't feel like did you actually see it in the edit? I felt like
no,
that whole thing could have happened anywhere.
There's a blue blur next to another blue blur, and I think a ladder.
It was like a rush to get the stage kind of built. And then
but I think also psychologically there's a little bit of that when you have a big set like that where you kind of want to get some of it off your plate so you no longer have to keep it in your head. So we did the backstage.
It's nice to have
done
a
with
push.
it.
Yeah.
Focus somewhere else. Yeah.
Did you have scripts or did you have outlines?
First 7.
Oh, that's nice.
First 7 when I started. Well, the nice thing
and
with
they
the set,
evolve.
Though, is they do.
Yeah, but you
have a framework.
Yeah, that's great.
Yes.
We kind of knew the big beats.
Yeah. And
I think that's
for me it helped though. It's like we knew that it was coming after season 3. So it's kind of like in my head to a certain degree. Like once we wrap 3.
Right.
Yeah.
You're ruminating on it. I will say I think that I didn't ever do a lot of like classic network TV where you're getting a new script every week or whatever. But of all the things that don't feel better to me, the way we shoot and produce things now, I think getting the scripts written ahead of time where you at least have an idea. A lot of I've been lucky enough at least that the shows I've been on have had some of that.
Yeah, even if it's outlines.
Yeah, just
ahead, just to give you like,
we're coming back here. We're never coming back here.
Yeah.
Right.
That's huge in our world.
Huge.
Yeah, it sounds like a feature hybrid.
Because I kind of get angry. I'm like, this scene is like 1/8 of a page. This is bullshit. We're coming back here. Like, okay, then like
right.
Then that makes it feel like it's worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At shooting at Universal, how many stages do you have? 2?
We had
2.
2.
At times we had 3. There's like a weird flex stage that we used for our lunches that occasionally we put a set on it. So we had 2 stages all season long, and then we had stage 8 that was where we had 2 meals, but also sometimes did things in.
Where'd we do the Oscars? Right? That was on a different stage.
Oscars was on 8. That's what we did on 8.
Okay.
We did Oscars on 8 because at that point in time we were building a pool and
to be the ocean.
To be the ocean. We were building the ocean on 11. Which was fun for 2 shots. And the 6 where she goes in the water, we can't have Gene Smart bobbing in the actual Pacific Ocean. She did run in when we were on location, but we had a couple of shots that we wanted to see her face, so we had to
Do a pool.
engineer a pool on stage that could hold 4 feet of water that
And
could
be
be warm
warm.
and be warm. But because of when we were shooting though, we couldn't do any tanks. Like we looked at the tanks at Universal, some of them were just so exorbitantly overbuilt, oversized.
Yeah.
But for the water to be 92 degrees, we learned, oh my God, how does the math? I think it's 40 degrees. If the temperature of the water is more than 40 degrees different than the temperature of the air is when you get steam. Like, and there's like a multiplier to how much steam there's going to be. So then we had to build it on stage so that the temperature of the air was more closely matched the temperature of the water, which involved like reaching out to anybody that's ever done a pool, anyone you know, like reaching out to people I haven't talked to in 10 years. I'm like, you did a pool one time.
Yeah.
And figuring out how having an engineer sign off on it and then overbuilding the crafts.
Thank God you watched Mr. Wizard growing up, and then you buy things you never thought you'd use, and then I'm a
100%.
designer. This is what I do.
Yep. Yep.
What do you think the biggest challenge of this season was? I mean, it had to, were your timelines really crunched? I mean, you shot in Vegas, you shot here, you shot somewhere else. And I mean, there's a lot of location work in this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think our early schedule got compressed because Gene hosted SNL, and so we shuffled some things around to make that happen. But that put us going from Vegas straight into Los Angeles shooting without hiatus days. Is that right?
Yeah.
So
Well,
I came back from Vegas early.
Yeah.
That part was a
had
little.
like the Monday. Sorry.
That's a crunch.
That was a crunch.
Because
They were a crunch. I'm trying to remember. You know, when they're over, it's hard to remember the hard stuff.
Yeah. There are little things like
Stockholm
Jimmy's
syndrome
office.
is what it is.
Yes. It was great. It was so breezy. No problems, no notes.
So smooth, no hiccups.
None.
When you're in it, you're like, what is happening? They want to do what?
Yeah, that's every day.
Yes, every day.
Some shows, it's like, what?
Jimmy's office was one of those that if we had known at the beginning of the season that we were going to be building the location, originally we were going to go back to the American Cement building and install there. So we kind of were figuring out what the inside of the office was going to be. But then all of a sudden in my head, it was like less than 3 weeks. It probably was a little bit more than that. But we were told, no, you're building the building on stage, and in a stage that was smaller than you would want it to be, to have that kind of full glass windows looking out onto downtown LA. But luckily
I was looking for a photo of that. I couldn't find a clean one. And then because I know that building. Yeah, I had a friend who lived in that building. I've been there for a party. But I was like, this is genius to make it into his office because it's such a great design and it's so LA, really, really great. Yeah.
No, it was great. We lucked up that the JC Backings, I think, printed it. If it isn't JC Backings, I'm so sorry. They happen to have that image. And they happen to have a slot in the schedule where we were able to print. Usually a backing can take 6, 8, 10 weeks to get printed, and they were able to fit a send pretty quickly.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I thought you shot the whole thing on location. That's great.
Last second we didn't, and all of a sudden you had to start paying attention to things where you're like, I don't have to worry about that. Now you had to figure out how to 3D model, 14 giant concrete looking X's.
Right. Put that in there. Just it shoots.
Yeah, and our concept, I remember kind of like buying extra desks and pieces at the beginning to be like assistants, and then as things evolved, then all of a sudden it was like, oh wait, now we need a conference table. Wait, now we need that. So yeah, just those. I think I had randomly, like on an auction, just bid like $10 on a conference table or something, and no one wants big conference tables anymore because that's just not how anyone works.
Right.
So we won it, and I was like, well, we're gonna have so many offices, we'll just put it in the it'll be the production. I just figured we'd use it somewhere, and then it ended up being great for that, shockingly. The offices at the beginning of the season were scary because office furniture, is office furniture.
Yeah.
And then I'm trying to be like, what does Hacks and Deborah Vance, what are those offices? Like, how do you marry those things?
I mean, it's it's such a sin of our, and because we just had a blow of faux library going down, which
Yeah.
had a lot of character pieces for
Yes.
offices.
Yeah.
So it does, like, the impact of all of this really hurts us. Because where did that chair go that I used to,
Right.
I knew that was over there in that section and I knew I could find it if I needed to, but like it's gone and like they even auction things off, so you might have gotten one of the good ones. You never know. But you can't, and then it goes with the show, and then you're like, shit, I used that on Hack season 4. I wonder where that is.
Right.
Where is
Yeah.
In
that?
storage somewhere.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, hopefully, well, I guess Universal might get it, but then you never know. They got too much stuff and
Right.
you cycle through, and we don't know where these pieces go. Like, I didn't know where my Monica, I mean, I know that we either gave them to Warner Brothers or Uni,
Right.
but I
Yeah.
haven't, yeah. I don't even know if I've ever seen, I don't know if I've seen them at Uni. I don't know. But yeah, and you hold on to like feelings for pieces. Like when I like the
Mhm.
emotion I felt when I saw the chairs, like so great. Um, how what was your favorite set, you think?
Hmm.
Mm.
This location? No.
Gosh,
I like
it's
I liked
tricky.
Deb's office.
Yeah, I like Deb's office too.
And then I like the weird,
Very
I liked
nice.
the lawyer's office and the crab shack. We don't usually get to
Yeah.
do um
Oh wait, I
kind
had
of
a picture of
kitschy.
that. I had a picture of that crab shack. Did I
Well, we
not?
have the crab shack and the lonely oyster. We did like oddly two kitschy
We
No.
did
seafood
boiling crab,
restaurants.
slippery oyster, and attorney were our
Oh,
three like
slippery
comedy
oyster?
sets.
Lonely oyster?
Slippery
What like
oyster.
oh, lonely oyster's a real
Lonely
restaurant.
oyster.
Never mind.
It's kind of sad.
I know.
Isn't that what it's called? I don't know.
I had a
Yeah.
picture
No,
of that. I thought, I don't know,
yeah.
maybe it didn't come out or something, or I found it and I was like, is that season 4? Do you know, like I look for pictures and I'm like, I had to make sure it's
Right.
season that I'm
Sure, sure.
talking about. Um, well, what do you think is going to happen on this season? I mean, I don't know. The season finale, you never know. You can't really
Mhm.
say what's going to happen with this show. So,
It does not tip anything. So
no, you
no
never
idea.
know. That's what I think the
Yeah.
good thing about it is. It's like it's two characters that you're constantly evolving, but there's never a clear path of where they're going to go.
Yeah.
That's
They
what's
know where they're going to end up. That's as far as I know. Jen Paul and Lucia, when they pitched the show, they know where it was going to end, and they have that in mind. They've not told anybody, so I'm sure they told somebody, but
I think
you'll be surprised
everyone
that.
they pitched it to knows.
Yes, except no, I think it was everyone they pitched it to knows except HBO. When they got bought
Or
by
Universal,
HBO or
except
Universal,
Universal, someone.
Universal,
Yeah, yeah. I think you're
they
right. I've
didn't.
heard them say
Yeah,
that.
they don't know. Well,
Yeah,
that's
they
she
don't.
said whoever like greenlit it was like, nope, I don't need to know.
Yeah,
I see what you've got. It's fine.
yeah,
well,
which
that's
is awesome.
but no, I would always want to know. I don't want to know where
Yeah.
the shows are
I
going.
don't know. I can't really, I don't, I have no idea.
No idea. No idea.
I don't
Got
even know
zero
how
intel.
I don't really have a firm grasp at all of how next season after the finale, like,
But
yeah, no clue.
I,
I mean, it doesn't stay stagnant. Like every
yeah.
season has a different feeling, and
Hmm.
um, especially with your sets and everything, they just evolve. They keep evolving these characters through and
Yeah.
through. So it's so nice to be a viewer and watch that because they're not in, and it lends to her character. She's not in the same house, or like you're not in the same wing,
Right.
or you're not
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
even if you are, she got new shit, or like it's totally plausible that she got a whole new set of furniture, or like anything new
Right. Yeah,
thrown
Yeah.
yeah.
out
You
there.
could justify a lot. Well,
Yeah,
the Altadena house or LA mansion, the rest in peace.
yeah,
Um, there was a part they kept scripting. It was scripted as like Deb works at her office. And I
Oh
was like,
yeah.
there's no office. There's no office in that house. And it was very limited sort of how and where we could shoot in that house.
mm,
And I kept saying, like, is she just on her laptop, like on the couch? Is she on her
yeah.
iPad? And it just kept saying office. And so then it was like, well, what can't we shoot that little room, off? And I was like, well, that's the room we store all the homeowners' furniture in.
Right.
So let's see, so I think there was a whole big negotiation and I kept saying it feels really small. And then eventually, I don't know if it was Bricker or someone you guys scouted and they were like, oh, it's too small.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I've
then
looked
it
at it.
became, what if you just redress a corner of the living room
Mm-mm.
and make it look like a different room in the office? So
Yeah.
that is what we did. I liked that
Mhm.
set. I actually thought
It turned out
it
nicely.
looked nice.
As long
Um,
as they stayed in that coverage, it was fine.
yes,
Yeah.
they were pretty limited.
Yeah. Pinky promise. Stay over
Yeah,
here. Don't turn around.
this is the living room.
Yeah.
Because I think it went back and forth on the day. I don't know. I can't
Or like a
remember.
lunch after lunch or something. It was, yeah,
Are
one of those
you
crazy ones.
you talked about not having hiatus. Do you have hiatuses between like 4 episodes, 5 episodes? Do you shoot straight through?
At the beginning of the season, we have all these little pockets of hiatuses that go away.
Yeah.
Right, right.
It's like, yeah, it's going to be
Promises,
great. It's going to be a piece of
promises.
cake. You're going to have 3 days here. You're going to have 2 days here to catch your breath, and it never
And
happens.
then you don't have or you have 2 days, but you spend them tech scouting. So
Yeah,
Yes.
not for us, but
yeah.
because I know is now it's been so long. Is this the season that Jean was sick, or was
No,
last?
that
No,
was
That was
that
three.
was
that
last.
was
That was
three.
three.
That was three. So at least you had like this season of, not
This
those.
season went relatively smoothly
Yeah.
compared to three. I mean, three was just sort of in
You had the strike.
season three started in 2022 and ended in 2024
Yeah, yeah.
for
Yeah.
4.5 hours of television.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It
That's like
was.
that's like impeachment. It basically took us a month to do an episode. We're done it like
Oh, wow.
over. I mean, with pandemic, but like over
Right. Yeah,
a
yeah.
Sure.
year and a half. I was on that. It's
Yeah.
crazy
Yeah.
times.
Yeah. That
Um,
made this season feel so fast too. Like we did. Janine had the count. My art director Janine had the count of 170 sets. I think we had 170 sets this season, something
oh
like that.
wow, great
Yeah.
job. It is a lot. I mean, even when I was looking at your Las Vegas one, I was like, God, they're here, and then they're on the bus, and then they're on the plane, and then they're in the conference rooms, and then they're
Then they're at this
outside.
table, then they're at that table. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you have 20 people in this scene. That must have been fun. Hmm. What do you think is what do you think you're like what set would you like to see Hacks have?
Oh man.
Oh God.
You know? Like what like she should or maybe I don't know. Like if you because there's
I
I
don't
just feel like,
know.
oh,
That's a really good question.
That is.
I sometimes because sometimes I feel like on Dr. Odyssey we were like we should
Yeah.
have a full casino, we should have a full spa, we should have a full like we should do these sets, and then nobody wrote them in there. But I mean we turned our dining room into a casino, but
But do
like
you really want to do a full casino?
well if I can do it and it could stay there and then they could shoot in it and give us a day rest,
Oh, right. And you
yeah,
spend a lot of time in there.
yeah, that becomes something you don't have to
Think
put
about
up
all
and
the
take
time.
down and put up and take
Yeah.
down, then yeah, I'm all for
Well,
it.
I think it would be. I would think it would be kind of funny if there was like an entire wing to her Las Vegas mansion that is a completely different style of dressing that
Yeah,
we've never seen before.
right.
That just like a totally, but it's hers. Like it's very clearly part of it,
Yeah,
but it's totally different, different art, different finishes. I mean, just going completely out there.
yeah.
That'd be
I mean, she had
fun.
the wrapping room, right, in one
She has the
season,
wrapping room, yeah.
She had the
which
gift.
is a
Well, she had the
totally
Christmas room. She had the gift
Christmas
wrapping
room.
room.
that's Candy. That's based on like Candy Spelling. I think she had a wrapping room.
Yeah, she did have a
Yeah.
gift
Yeah,
wrapping room.
yeah. That's which is
It
fantastic.
was about half the size of Deborah's and not as fancy.
Well,
Yeah.
there you go. I like that.
But she did it first.
Yeah, making it better. What do you think, Jen? Do you have any
I don't
take her
know.
anywhere?
I've never even thought about it. I've like literally, aside from I mean, I got to use the toilet and the bidet finally in Deb's
There
LA
Yeah.
you go.
mansion
It's a
bathroom.
win.
So
That's a
dreams
win.
do come true.
Do you have you were talked before about like color palette and everything, but do you have you said no yellow, but
Mhm.
did that hinder a lot? I mean, I don't think yellow isn't usually what we're going for anyway, but did you have like we don't like these wood tones. We don't like this. Like,
I
did
think we have like a
you?
general instinct now at this point, being on our third season of the show, about what works and what doesn't work. Like just getting where we veer into, just making sure, like, as far as our finishes, we're luxe enough and grounded enough, um, and make sure that they pop when they need to pop. So I
Yeah.
wouldn't say that there's like a really serious rule book. I know we do tend to like the smoky pinks and the lavenders and icy blues look really nice, and certain
Stop
greens
and
with
greens.
Ava.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd like to
Yeah.
play
Like
around
the
with that.
jewel tones. You really
Jewel
play with
tones.
like jewel tones is really nice.
Yeah. And you know, when you're decorating or designing, you have your favorite color, and you always have to make sure you're not doing too much of your favorite color, just because it's like it's comfortable.
You turn around, you're like, the whole show's blue.
Yeah.
I would be green. Every production designer I know loves green. Green
We
is the
love green.
default color for
Yeah.
I can think of like 4 designers off the
Green.
Rob's one.
But I said
Told you
but then
I'm
I started to hear
But
that
then
stuff, and I go like,
I know, and you
will not use green at all
veered
next
way
season. I
off. I
refuse
know.
to. Yeah. So I like doing that stuff too, to little challenges to myself. Like, let's not do this thing that is so obvious, and let's just try something else.
How big is are your departments? I mean, it obviously you guys work so well together, and I know Jill has been on as your assistant decorator.
Yeah, Jill, and then I one additional buyer.
One additional.
And then, you know, the set dressing crew varies
Yeah.
just wildly depending on, I think it's like I don't even know if they technically say it's 4. I feel like it's 6, even if they technically it's 4. And then some days, you know, it's
I feel like
50.
it's 6 now. I feel like our base, we can't get away with 4. I don't know.
Right. Yeah, no.
We can't do 4 anymore.
But sometimes they still like pretend it's 4,
Yeah.
even though it isn't.
reality check.
Yeah.
Location.
You have 1 truck. Okay, 1 truck.
Yeah.
Sure. Great, no
We
problem.
can start with 1 truck on day 1.
But
You
then
almost
when
you have
we're
to
in
prove
4
the need.
locations.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that's how it was for us too. We were Janine Ringer, art director, and then I had Victoria Tamas, the assistant art director. But then at some point we added on Bronte Campbell, who did second season as another assistant art director. We had 2 set designers at one point, graphic designer, 2 PAs, and a coordinator.
Nice.
And so it was good. It was a good size, but we were also, I mean, I think Bronte's biggest task was the montage at the beginning of 4. She was gaffing each one of those pieces that gets cut together, and that was each one of those is a set that has to change. Each of those sets goes through iterations. So
right.
Yeah.
Montage.
The biggest the one word in the English dictionary that I hate is
Montage.
Montage.
Same.
Is the worst word in the script.
It is the worst word in set dressing for sure.
Yeah.
Or quick pop. Quick pop, my balls. It's a full set. What do you mean quick pop?
Or series of photographs.
Yeah.
So
Well, yeah.
You know what, too? There's never like a budget line for montage or quick pop. It's so like, gotta put that line in. Well, yeah, that's a lot of money. So yeah, quick pop that money over to me. I don't know, guys. I mean, I adore the show. I know everyone who watches it like can't wait for it to come back on. And I think this season with, you know, really giving her dream set here is just fantastic. I mean, it
was fun to be in LA. I mean, and then it was, you know, sort of bittersweet and fortuitous that this was our love letter to LA season.
Yeah.
Because we do shoot in Altadena a lot, but yeah, that was fun.
It was.
I mean, season 2 we really mixed it up when
Yeah.
she was on tour as well.
Oh my God, yeah.
Stage after stage.
It's hold on. Do we know did that cemetery burn down where we all shoot? The mountain?
No, actually that was
No.
that's unscathed.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank
that
God.
one was okay. I remember Danny
Like
saying.
it's the only cemetery in LA they'll let you dig.
Yeah.
What I heard. But yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad that didn't
Things no normal person ever thinks about.
No.
I know.
Will they let us lower a casket there? No.
Yeah.
Oh.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, but cemeteries are a pain. Shooting a cemetery, because you have to replace all the headstones, come up with cleared names. get them all made and painted and have them slide over
Look aged. I was
and
just like,
age and look right. And
you know
yeah.
what's worse? Military cemetery.
Oh,
Military
Oh
cemeteries
yeah.
are really the worst because everything has to line up
Right.
line
exactly.
up. Yeah, it's so specific.
It's like the wind takes one down and you're screwed from that. I don't know, guys. It's voting time. I think you're ready. You put your best foot forward this year. Right out the curtain. I think you guys,
Fourth season's a charm. Come on.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's amazing. It's really it's you know it's good scripts and everything, but it's really like you bringing it to life and everything is really fantastic. And as just a fan of the show, it's just wonderful to see, where she goes and how you guys take her there. So
I
I
think I will say of course he's a DP, so he drives me crazy because that's just inherent. But Adam Brinker, like I do love that on this show they show sets.
yeah,
They do.
Because
they do. They keep it
they
wide.
don't always. So much
Yeah.
work is done by people, and occasionally we have a set where I'm like, oh, but so much work is done by people, and then it's like medium close-ups, and you don't really ever see it. And I do really appreciate how much they show the sets and how
They
beautiful
do.
they
They
always look.
her world is such a character from
Yes.
Yeah.
how you guys design and decorate it that I think it's important in watching it that you're aware of this character and keeping it wide gives you a sense of her world. So yeah, it is great that they do
Yeah,
that.
which Jen Paul and Lucina, I think, are very aware of, which is why we're always like
Yes.
creating a new room in the mansion, creating a new, space she has things in, is to show that sort of ever expanding world.
Yeah. And it's such a fun collaboration with them too, because they know her inside and
Yeah.
out. Like they know
Right.
their show. They're such devoted showrunners. And I always like to say they give notes, but every note makes it better. There's very few notes that are just like those showrunnery notes that are like, well, I'm the showrunner, I have to change it. Like they're all authentic to the collaborative purpose. Like sometimes when you're really annoyed and you get the one note and you're like, yeah, it's better. No, it's better.
And then you're like,
I'm
God,
just tired.
that is true. It's like, why didn't I think of that? It's a much better idea.
That is better. All right. I'd still fight for my decision, but all right. It is great too, like with half hour. I mean, some seasons take longer than others, but you really get to develop these characters in design and decorating, and that's
Yeah.
also you get so familiar. I mean, I know that I've said this before, like I could walk through a prop house right now and like pick out my characters, like, oh, that's for Bones, that's for Brennan, that's like like you get like a
Yep.
oh,
And
that's
don't you always like you're always shopping every character and set
yeah.
you've ever done too? Because
Yeah.
you see something that you're like 15 years ago, that would have been
Yeah. But
perfect.
it's so Leslie, no, that
Yeah.
Yeah.
oh Leslie, that would have worked perfect. Where was that? Where were you? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it is.
Really.
Although the flip side of that, in Tell Hacks, I've never done multiple seasons of a show. And so there is that thing, and I can't even imagine back when it was like, on shows where it's like 22 episodes, because you run out of stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know how
like
anatomy does it.
especially for Deb, because she's so specific, and it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
oh, we got to do another Deb room. Oh,
Yeah.
like we've used all the
We've
great
used
Deb
everything.
stuff.
For sure.
Yeah. That's when you go, you're like, "Oh, I gotta buy it. I gotta get out of I can't even if it's
Yeah.
a pop-up, I gotta keep evolving this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's fun. I like it. All right, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
That
you.
day. I'm really in love with the season and what you guys did. I love that set. I think
Thank
it's
you.
great. Nightlight.
Thank
and
you. Yeah.
Such a fun opportunity. It's such a fun opportunity to do a late night show. It's so cool.
Yeah. And listening
Really
to all
enjoying
your influence and everything, that's like it's so great. Yeah.
Oh yeah, in the
it's fun.
beginning during prep, it was just like you'd walk into Rob's office and he'd just be like all these old
Drawing,
references,
frantically
like
sketching,
drawing
looking for things.
furiously.
Yeah. Well, and I'm also trying to get research back off of Google Images and like personally my own challenge and going back to books again, which seems like it's,
Well,
doesn't
now,
happen as often because time-wise, but it's
yeah.
it's fun. And then
Remember-
Jen finding that amazing
I know,
sequin
but-
wall.
At least
Yeah.
when you have it in a book, like that it was actually existed at a time
Yeah.
Exactly.
instead of
That's
like
a really good
all the
point.
lies on the internet.
Like
Yeah.
like your location work.
Yeah.
I'm really perplexed by that. I read that article and I totally thought
No,
that
it definitely it talked about the Altadena mansion and then that was the lead photo. And I
Yeah.
think that was what was confusing.
and I was
We
like,
fooled them again, guys. We fooled them again.
yes, fooled me. I fooled